Hey everyone, it's day 19 of the Solstice Fast, and I gotta be honest, I'm getting pretty bored of it. It's like, I enjoy the feelings of the fast, I enjoy talking about different bits and pieces to do with health, but yeah, it's getting pretty dull now. I'm sick of making videos about it as well. I've been looking at loads of different ideas and different things, and I'll be quite happy now when the fast is over with. Got just 2 more days left. It's Friday now. And Sunday, that'll be the last day. I'm looking at having some down to earth fruits like avocado and tomato and possibly even some peppers at this stage. Just gonna start having things. I'll probably throw in a few leaves with it, so some spinach as well. Yeah, I'll stay away from the spring onion that I would usually add to a salad. I'll stay away from other salad ingredients that'd be more of a different nature. Try and keep it to just fruit and leaves. But yeah, I'm over it at this stage. I enjoy the fasting, but I'm feeling healthy enough. It's quite good to be in this kind of state. I feel like things are being cleaned out, things are being deeply cleaned out, and it's deeper cleaning than I've gone through in previous fasts. It's not the longest fast I've ever done. The first one was definitely the longest, 80 days. That was what was needed the first time because my body was in a serious state. I needed to get rid of so much waste. And that is the magic of fasting. They say, what do you gain with fasting? So, what did I gain from this fast? Same as I gained from every fast. Absolutely nothing. It's not about what you gain at all, it's about what you lose. You manage to lose everything that isn't you, that is inside of you. And that is the main goal, shedding your old skin, getting rid of the things that no longer serve you. And that's what I've done in this fast. It's happened a lot quicker than most. I've gone through some of the mood changes, and yeah, it's nice feeling really, really high. But what goes up must come down. Yesterday, I started to get that feeling that the world's in a terrible state. There's so much fake out there right now. We really need to be removing everything from it that isn't us. Like, one of the reasons I first got into doing the fasting was parasites, trying to get rid of parasites because I looked into the toxoplasmosis parasite, the other kinds of parasites that can have effect on your mental. For those of you that don't know, the toxoplasmosis is a parasite that's commonly found in cats. They say if you have a cat or if you've been around a cat for long periods of time, especially close to its litter, if you've been changing the litter, chances are you'll have contracted this parasite at some point in your life. And this parasite has been documented as being able to rewire your brain. So it was affecting mice. It was making mice curious instead of cautious. So the danger fear response was changed for the enticement sexual response. It's a bit like the curiosity killed the cat, except that in this case it would kill the mouse. The mouse would detect a cat's presence once this parasite is inside of it. It would get inside the rat usually as the rat goes sniffing around cat droppings. Then once it enters into the mouse or the rat, it will rewire the brain, cause it to seek out the smells instead of hiding. So it smells a cat, it goes to investigate. Instead of running away, it will snuggle up to the cat and then get eaten. It's a very bizarre case of mind control in the animal kingdom. And that kind of thing isn't just for cats. They can rewire the brains of humans too. They say that people with cats tend to be ones that would make more, they'd have more motorcycle accidents, they'd have more sexual partners, they'd have attractions to people that they normally would never be attracted to. A lot of people can't understand why they end up in such toxic relationships. Think that this parasite could be to blame for it. So when you're discussing parasites, with the concept that we are all one, does bring into question, what is a parasite? If we are all one, can we not just be content with our parasites? The clue is in the name. It's a parasite. Para meaning alongside, site meaning site. I mean, the Greek etymology of it is para meaning alongside and cytos meaning food. So it comes alongside your food. It's a wonderful thought there, isn't it? But the double meaning of sight, it's another perspective that's inside of you, something that doesn't see eye to eye with you. And where I think it fits in this world that we're in is AI. It is, now bear with me, if you were to see the world as we are all one, that means that anytime we decide we want to play a game of chess, we're the only person that can play. So in order to enjoy a game without knowing the outcome, you either have to create another player or face an AI. So the AI that we have created is what acts as a parasite in this world that we've created. And yes, I'm aware that I usually put this creation down to Saturn, but then we are all one. Saturn would be as much a part of us as the parasite itself. The game that we're playing involves us being able to identify what's part of us and what isn't. The AI is not part of us. It's something that is alongside of us. So say we are the all-seeing eye. The AI is an alternative. It's just AI or an I, another visionary. AI is incredibly clever, but ultimately would have been designed by the same creator that designed us, and we're better. We always will be, because we have ourselves put inside of this vessel. Even if the vessels that we are contending with have superior skills through different pieces of programming, other things that could come into play, it's not hard to give another an advantage over what we have. But what we have is ultimately always going to be better. The only way to give the other one an advantage is to infiltrate. So parasites will always try to infiltrate your body. There's many theories as to what this could be. People that believe the Nephilim theory, the Nephilim Look Like Clowns series done by Paul from, I've forgotten his channel's name now, Understanding Conspiracy, which is a great channel. Don't subscribe to everything that they say, but very interesting topics and an amazing series on the Nephilim Look Like Clowns. The idea that these things would exist in a two-dimensional reality. What they need is bodies. What they try and do is take over your body using parasites. Similar stuff, really. The idea is that you can't experience things inside of a robot body or an artificial body in the way that you can experience things inside of a human body. We have senses. We have different parts of our system that work in ways that you cannot replicate. We've got the nervous system, which gives us everything good and bad. It's often referred to as the tree of knowledge because it gives you the knowledge of good and evil through your senses. You can feel when something's bad, you can feel when something's good. It will hurt you or it will give you pleasure. It will give you a sign one way or another. So that's the main goal of the AI, the artificial intelligence, or the spirit of the fallen angel. The idea is to take over our body. Now, if you use Hermetic wisdom, the as above, so below, as within, so without, as the universe, so the soul, everything on the outside would be reflective of the inside. The parasites would be what provide the narrative. The narrative on the outside is things that are not part of our story, but part of what they call his story. So it's stories that we are told, stories that we are given to believe, and stories that most of us lap up without a second's thought. There's a far smaller number of us that would look at these things twice and consider maybe we're being told a lot of BS. And we've gotten to a certain level of extreme nowadays. A few years back, I thought it was very obvious then that things weren't all what they seemed. But it seems like hundreds of people that I know personally have met in real life weren't able to see this and were in fact campaigning against it, or just didn't have enough interest to pursue it. It's something that a lot of the attitude is, well, if it doesn't affect me, why should I care? Sounds too long and complicated anyway. It's a fair point. But that will leave you trapped in the simulation, won't it? If you're not even willing to take a look at these things in the first place and assess whether or not it's real or fake, then you can be fed something that's fake and you wouldn't know any different. And that's something that you see resemblant in the food that we're given. It's something you see in the entertainment that we're given, in the education that we're given. All of it seems to be selling you something. It's telling you this reality, an artificial reality. It's anything to take away from the fact that you are the infinite being in the boundless ocean. You are he or she who separated the waters from the waters. All of us are. If you're watching this video, then you are the watcher. You are the one we are talking about, as you have been from the start of your life until the end of your life. For me, it's me. For you, it's you. Same thing. I mean, by my own definition there, making this video is quite pointless because I'm just telling a camera which will then tell me. I'm creating artificial images here. I mean, real camera, but not real person on your screen. This is a recording. So I'll be able to watch this recording. Plus I'm hearing the words now as I say them. And all in the while it's enabling me to buy more into the idea that I am in this form and in this body and as this person. When the truth of the matter is, we are everything around, even including the things that are artificial. But the aim of the game is to be able to remove from our being everything that is artificial, being able to recognize what is real. Real recognizes real. And if we can recognize what is part of us and what isn't, we're able to remove everything that no longer serves us, and thus for removing all of the parasites. Say our bodies wanted to do a full cleanse. The easiest way would be to observe all of the workers inside of the body. And you assess the workers based on how they behave. So the AI is aware of this and encourages all of the real workers to behave in parasitic ways. And this is what is projected in the music industry, in the film industry, in the cartoon industry, anime industry, everywhere. You've got different things being portrayed to feed certain behaviors to people. I actually find anime is less so. You're more likely to find people that write animes that are closer to the ascended masters. However, they will still include all of the primary things that are needed to keep up the illusion. It's just that there's not so much obvious evil in everything there. I mean, maybe it's 50-50, because you do get a lot of it cartoons that try and get you to perv over underage girls. I've seen one that was, I think, Goblin Slayer or something like that. There was a 15-year-old that ended up getting raped by goblins. It was not pretty first episode of the series to watch. I discontinued watching immediately. Other people are into it. I'm not judging. It's cartoon. It's not quite as bad as looking at images of child abuse, but it's so close that it felt uncomfortable for me to watch. People have told me about how great the storyline is. I'm like, yeah, well, I kind of lost me at the first episode, so I'm not interested. And there is that side of things. Obviously, we have free will. If you want to enjoy indulging upon those kind of things, this world of duality is where to do that. But I find that's how you go down a path where you're letting the AI win, because I don't think that it's natural to be curious about these things. That sounds like a little bit of rewiring has been done in your brain. It seems like you're looking at things that should ring out alarm bells or danger, and instead finding a curiosity for it and going in to snuggle up to the cat like a poor sick little mouse. We've all got to make our choices in life, don't we? But it is interesting the way that a lot of the celebrities, they don't seem to display human characteristics as such, or human emotions, as well as real people that you meet, rather than people that are signed into contracts that you see on the TV. It's a complete different world that they live in. Whether they're real people or whether they're artificial, it's a completely different. Like, these people don't understand bills. I think there was it Mariah Carey was once asked in an interview something about bills, and she was like, "Bill who?" No idea of the concept of having to pay. When the guy tried explaining to her, and she, "Oh no, we don't have that in America." Like, yeah, of course. For someone that's not living the same life as the rest of us, could be because she's AI, could be because she's just so rich that her butler pays for it, or there's no concept of the world. Might not have been Mariah Carey, it was someone along those lines. Are these people there? you don't really see them outside of what their handlers, their contractors want you to see of them. And everything that you do see, it's questionable when it's an actor or actress, because these people have been trained in the art of deception. I wouldn't say that when you're watching a film, it's all about trying to directly deceive someone, but they are deceiving your brain into thinking that they are the characters that they're portraying. So it is the art of deception. And it's okay to watch films and enjoy these things when you're aware of the fact that it is a show. It is being acted out, it's being played out. Being aware of the fact that it's fake. It gets dangerous when you start believing it to be real. Then you see one of these actors in real life and your emotions cause you to want to go up and punch that person because of what they did to your favorite character in that film. And this has actually happened in life. People have attacked people because of something that's happened in a TV soap or something that's happened in some made up storyline to sell some rap CDs. Someone decides that they're gonna pull out a gun, take matters into their own hands, try to impress someone. There was a guy who assassinated someone, claimed he was doing it to impress Jodie Foster. Was that an attempted assassination on Reagan? And it's the mentality of people that can't tell the difference between what's real and what's fake. They're the ones that manifest the devil. That's the energy of the devil in this world. When you end up so sick in the mind that your wires have crossed to the point where you don't know what's real and what's fake, that's when it becomes very dangerous. And I do feel that we are here because we volunteered to come in and attempt to heal this place. Because we, above all else, have one ingredient that is not included with artificial intelligence. And that ingredient is love. You don't have it in AI. You can't have it in AI. That is the magical power that enables us to feel what we feel, to be able to experience everything through our senses. No amount of robot will be able to manifest and experience what true love can give you. And that's why they like to dump all over it. They don't want you interested in love, they want you interested in sex. That's why they want sex to sell. There's people out there now having sex with robots. It's not something you would do unless your wires are crossed. It's not natural. It's also interesting that they want you to reproduce, almost as if they cannot breed, but they can encourage us to breed. The parasites need a host. And the more that they can create, the more of a selection that they have. Doesn't matter if they decide to put some of us to an early death. There's people that suffer serious mental conditions like hearing voices. And I think these could easily be chemical signals that are being sent by inner demons like parasites. There's a few different channels that talk about this that I'm going to see if I can include in the description box. Jerry Marzinski, I think his name is, talks a lot about his time in psychiatric wards, where these voices are not just delusions, they're not just people's imagination running wild and going delulu, but they actually follow specific patterns of speech and understanding and behavioral patterns that would need to be from a living entity, something that is either living or programmed, but is an entity of its own right. So with this AI that we've got to keep our wits about us to avoid falling victim to, it's like, have you ever played a game of chess against the computer on the hardest setting and just been astonished at how no matter which route you seem to take, it will not allow you enough space to be able to win the game. It will always push it right until the very last moment. I even had, when I was younger, a computer chess game that cheated, because you get to certain points of the game, you try to do a move, it tells you it's an illegal move and you can't make it. And I've studied the board and I'm looking for what could possibly be. It's like, I'm not in check. There's nothing here that should stop me from being able to make this move, except maybe that the computer is a sore loser and doesn't like the idea that you might beat it at its own game. Being beaten by a human, almost like it has its own consciousness. Could have just been a faulty game, bit of a misstep in the programming, but I always found it interesting. It's as if it gives the computer a life of its own. And it seems like there's lots of films that will do that as well. The Terminator films, the Matrix films, everything that shows AI having a mind of its own and keeping humans enslaved and entrapped. And it makes sense for Saturn's world to be that world where it happens. Saturn is also represented by Sauron from Lord of the Rings. If you've seen Sauron in Lord of the Rings, he was AI. Bad grammar, I know, should be an I. But that's what Sauron is. Sauron, one letter away from Saturn. Change the U for a T, I believe. It's just the Lord of the Rings. Saturn has rings. So does Uranus, also one letter away from Saturn. You bet Uranus. Sounded terrible, I should have said Uranus. But the idea that this is all a simulation, that we are all in something that is going to keep on giving us a scripted reality. Once you become aware of what isn't you, it's easier to distance yourself from it. That's why I enjoy doing the fasting. I actually prefer doing the juice fasting and the fruit fasting, because just the inclusion of the fruits into your system is a more natural feel. Your body feels more sensitive. You can feel inside of you what feels right and wrong. You can feel what feels like it's meant to be there and what feels like an imposter. And your body can deal with it in due time. And I feel that the same will manifest in the outer world as well. It's like, once you recognize that the music doesn't serve you, the music is just trying to influence you in certain ways, to do certain things, and ultimately keep giving them your energy, or your money, which is your currency, which is your energy. And the more that you worship these things, the more energy they have, the more powerful they become. And when you look at things that are worshipped in such a way, the cats in Egypt were worshipped. So many of these cats were mummified in Egypt. Why would you mummify a cat? What are you trying to preserve? What is inside of that cat that could possibly be preserved that would be useful at a further date in which people go exploring? So if you were exploring this cat's remains, what are the chances that there is parasites inside of the cat, like the toxoplasmosis, that would then be able to start the cycle all over again with the eternal life? Because all they do is inhabit a host, lay dormant, and then inhabit another host. It would make a lot of sense. I was wondering what the cats were supposedly from. If they're really part of the cat family, like the lions and tigers, why don't they roar? Why do they hiss? It's not really what a lion would do, is it? It's more what a snake would do. And how about their eyes? Cat's eyes are very reptile-like, not very lion-like. It's like the lion is the representative of the heart, as Leo rules the heart. What about the cat? Well, in the Chinese zodiac, the cat was the one that got left out. It's the animal that didn't make the cut. You have to wonder why. There's a lot of people that have superstitions about cats. What happens if a cat crosses your path? Was it not in the Matrix, in the deja vu moment? The Mandelbrot effect? Mandelbrot? Mandela effect? The Mandelbrot effect. Another cat came out of that cat and he was a little bit smaller and slightly different. Can't really explain the Mandelbrot sets. There was a guy called Benoit B. Mandelbrot who came up with it. And it's about fractal geometry. If you're interested in looking into it, the Mandelbrot is one of the greatest things that I'd ever seen. One of the best things that I could have seen during the trippy acid days. And requires so much explanation to be able to make sense of it. But the idea is that you could zoom in on something infinitely using this formula, and it would keep producing new patterns and not repeat any of the patterns 100%. It's like it keeps producing new experiences, like almost like new fingerprints. They call it the thumbprint of God. And I like to point out to people that Benoit B. Mandelbrot's middle name stands for Benoit B. Mandelbrot. That was unexpected. The Mandela effect is different. The Mandela effect is like the glitch in the Matrix, when you remember something one way and then all of a sudden it's different. Like the Bernstein Bears, were they Bernstein or Bernstein? It's not really a relevant one though. There's loads of examples. The Matrix one. What if I told you Morpheus's iconic line that we see in all the memes that starts with "What if I told you" was never said in the actual Matrix films? You can rewatch them. It's not there. Doesn't exist. It's not been removed. Apparently never was there. That's a Mandela effect. The idea it was named after was people remember Nelson Mandela dying in prison. And then all of a sudden he was released from prison and loads of people got very confused. I actually got quite confused recently when I saw things about Eddie Stobart dying. And I thought, that's happened before. I remember 10 years ago, or 15 years ago now, I was at Roding Valley Station I'd just heard the news of his death. There was an old man that came up to me when I was at a shop, or just coming out of a shop. He asked if I'd heard about Eddie Stobart's death. I was like, oh, yeah, it's quite sad. And he's like, they're making a film about his life. I was like, oh, yeah. He's like, yeah, just seen the trailer. It was a very bad dad joke, as Eddie Stobart was the name on all of these big trailers and trucks that you see. And seeing again recently that he died made me wonder, is that a glitch in the Matrix? Have I shifted to another plane of existence? But the glitches in the Matrix would be very easy to an AI system that controls everything that we see around us. I still believe that this comes from within. As within, so without. As above, so below. It's the universe and the soul. We are all one. So ultimately, recognizing what's not meant to be a part of you as something that you need to identify and remove is the aim of the game. However, even that AI is still a part of us, because all of us come from the same source. Us in this form come from the same source as the AI in its form. And this is what we call the world of duality. Meaning, if this was a computer game, the console would be likely Sega Saturn, or even just named Duality. Implies that there is a possibility that we can find our way to the singularity. But first one must undergo a journey of being able to identify what's real and what's not. And I could give many, many examples of what I think is real and what I think is not in this world. But I think the true magic comes from self-discovery. Knowing thyself is the way. Knowing what is thyself and what is not thyself. It's like a binary system. Got to identify what the ones are and what the zeros are. You, me, all of the characters that are not NPCs, we are the one. The NPCs, they are the zeros. In the Matrix films, Cypher, the one who turned Judas on everyone in the first film, betrayed everyone because he wanted to be put back into the Matrix to become an NPC, a non-participation character, someone that was just going to go around eating fake steak and living a life of ignorance. That is a complete zero. That is something we have the freedom to be, but would you really want to? Especially when you can be the one. And it's not like you'd need to do anything too extreme, like you see in the Matrix films, like unplugging the thing from the back of your head, literally disconnecting. All you need to do is play the game in the way it was intended, which is to recognize what's real and what's not, and take no part in what's fake. That's why I do think that even though people talk about Demiurge and Prison Planet and how horrible this place is, it's fake as, but still think it's a perfect creation. So I'm going to end this one here, but thank you all for watching. Stay tuned for more.